December 11th, Sotogrande held an agents event where they presented the results of their first agent sentiment survey. I think more than 100 agents participated in the survey that work with Sotogrande, or at least within their network. And in that event, we discussed, well, I was part of the panel that was discussing it, along with Alvaro from the LPA and Rita and Agustin from Sotogrande. And we discussed Sotogrande's own results. Then we moved on to the results of the survey and discussed that the people that participated, by the looks of it, are Costa agents and Sotogrande agents, which probably skews the figures a little bit because they are quite different, the two markets. So I'm not going to run through all of the survey results, but I'm going to pick a few out that I think were interesting to me, or at least confirms what we already knew. One of the survey questions was, how many leads did you have this year compared to 2024? And I was surprised to see that a staggering 46% of agents said that they had more leads in 2025 than 2024. A third roughly said they're about the same, and the rest said fewer. Surprises me because generally the word on the street has been that there have been fewer leads going around, and certainly something that both agents, lead generation companies, and property portals are reporting this year. So interesting there. Another question that stands out for me from the survey is, how was business in 2025 compared to 2024? This result sort of confirms what I would have expected. 50% said that business has been harder in 2025 than 2024. Only 13% said easier, and 38%, just over a third, said it's about the same. So half said it was harder, a third said it was the same, and a small amount said it was actually easier to do business this year than last year. Question 4 of the survey was business expectations for 2026 compared to 2025, and more than a third, 37% of agents expect it to be more difficult to do business next year than this year. 40% said about the same, and 23% said, you know what, it's going to be easier. God loves an optimist. When asked, are Americans buying? Now, statistically, we know they are buying, but the survey results suggest that 80% roughly are either buying a lot or buying some. So 80% of agents, they are selling to Americans, and roughly 18% said they're not selling anything to Americans. I think a similar thing is happening there to what happened with the Polish market, where initially a few agencies were selling to the Poles, and then over the next few years it kind of spread to everybody selling a little bit to Poles. When agents were asked what the biggest challenge for 2026 are, a third said leads, a third said listings, 19% AI. And that surprises me because it shows that some agencies are seeing AI more as a challenge than as an opportunity. I can only put that down to the fact that it probably means keeping up with AI or implementing AI is a challenge as opposed to AI itself. There's a huge amount of FOMO going on, fear of missing out. Are my competition using AI more than I am? What should I be doing? I think it's probably down to that. In terms of a third saying that leads are a challenge and a third saying that listings are a challenge, I presume that just means the listing agencies see getting more listings as a challenge, and buyer's agents saying getting leads is a challenge. That makes sense. When agents were asked what is the main challenge for the sector, however, not a huge surprise. The number one challenge for the sector, agents say, is too many agencies, lack of professionalism, and lack of regulation. We've been going about this for the last 2 or 3 years. No surprises there. Will we see regulation from the Junta de Andalucía next year? Who knows? I wouldn't hold my breath. There's plenty of attempts to make it happen from the different agents associations. The second biggest challenge for this sector is high prices. And the third, political instability. Remember last January with Sanchez's 100% tax for non-EU residents grenade that he threw. All the short-term rental stupidity that we've had to deal with this year, that kind of makes sense. And then point 4, lack of listings. Nothing surprising there. And then the last two questions that I'm going to highlight. First one was point 8, which was, which nationality do you expect to emerge as a key buyer group in 2026? And the top one that agents picked, that was 29% of the vote, was USA. 14% said Poland, and then 6% mixed Eastern Europe and UK. So agents are saying that the big opportunity next year for agents will be Americans and Polish. It's not the most exciting or original idea, but it is what it is. That's what you guys voted for. And then the final one, which is a funny one, I think, it's have you sold in Sotogrande in 2025? 76% of agents that Sotogrande deal with have sold in Sotogrande. Surprise, surprise. Perhaps the surprise is that 24% didn't. Sotogrande then went into a question and answer about what it is that Sotogrande would need to do to sell to more people, etc. But that's for maybe for next year's event. And those are the main takeaways from the agent sentiment survey from Sotogrande. The most interesting thing will be when they run the same survey next year, being able to see how it's changed, if at all, between 1 year and the next. Because sometimes it's the trend, the changes that make for the more interesting story than the actual results themselves of 1 year. That's it for now. I will try and put the rest of the results in a blog post or something so you can read all of them. And that's it. Enjoy.